Hello, YouTube. I hope you're having a fabulous weekend, a fabulous Sunday. It is Sunday, March 8th. Time is just flying. We've had a shitty first few months. Jesse Jackson died. Um, I know, like my family's pastor, he died suddenly. Clifton Miller from Brown Memorial. He didn't come to church for like 2 years, and then they said he died. I didn't even know he was sick. I just assumed he had another gig. Some people just, some pastors, when they're in between gigs, they might take like a little break. But nobody ever said he was sick. And then when people, like, I would ask, because my father, he go there every Sunday. He's a member, and then my son was going there, so naturally I went because I wanted to let people know, like, yes, my son have a mom, because you know how church people are, like, naturally they assume that the mom is not in their life if they don't see the mom, because we had kids in my church growing up, their parents wasn't there or whatever. And I just wanted to say that real quick, like, if you are somebody who church is not your thing, but your children are involved in church, you need to visit. They need to know that they have a mama. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But the pastor, yeah, the pastor had passed away. Nobody ever said anything about the pastor in the 2 years. And I visit a lot. I was there enough times. But it's just sad he passed away. He was only 58 years old. Also, my principal passed away of Greater Bethel Ministries. Those of you who know, you know. 215 Jamaica. I'm honestly surprised she lasted that long. She was very obese. She was bedridden for the past 10 years, and she finally passed away. Um, so that's how I know I'm getting old, because like principals are passing away, and people, I mean, people die in general, but life is short. And it may seem like it's a long time ago, whatever. Life is short, you know. Holding grudges and stuff like that is not worth it. Some people are not meant to be in your life, and I spoke about that in a previous video. Sometimes if you're unequally yoked in a friendship, relationship, or whatever, that person, for us, will hold on to them for their life, but they'll eventually cut you off, because two cannot walk together unless they agree. But today, I actually wasn't going to do a video today because I just wasn't. But I saw a video, and I wanted to talk about it, about a girl. She had a beef with her mom. And she was saying that, oh, we cannot move forward unless if you apologize. Let me tell y'all something. Forgiveness is not for you. I mean, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you, right? So I just wanted to address that, because it's going to be a lot of people in your life, friends, especially family members, that are not going to say sorry, especially your parents, because they feel like they're right. They the elder. Me personally, I say sorry to my son because I know I need him. So you have to understand, a lot of parents are disrespectful and they're mean to us on purpose because they feel like we the child, they don't need us. But the best revenge is one day, especially if you have a parent that's not good with their finances, they're going to need you one day, guaranteed. They're going to be going through some type of craziness financially, and they're going to call you for a resource, and you could just blatantly say no. And that's what I wanted to say. Like, you don't have to be holding grudges as far as not speaking to them, because that's what the devil wants. The devil wants you isolated into yourself. The devil doesn't want you to have family. So stuff like holding grudges and stuff, that's what the devil wants. Now, some people need to be cut off. Like, if you have a parent who raised you and they've been there, and then you have another family that's telling you, oh, you need to cut this person off and stuff like that, you need to probably cut that person off, because that parent has been there for you. It's not just because they're your parent, but you got to think about, if you have children, you don't want your children to grow up without a grandparent because you got beef with them. You get what I'm saying? Like, My mom had her issues with her mom, but I still was allowed to go visit my grandmother. She didn't say, oh, you can't speak to your grandmother because I have an issue with her. No, you still let them do whatever. When I got of age, like, I think I was like 13, that's when my mom let me take the bus by myself because she was like, she couldn't take it no more because my grandmother was very negative. She was, as soon as you walk in the door, she want to know, why you still living where you living? Like, what? You ain't got a place to put us, so what is the problem? But I just wanted to say that really quickly. Forgive your mammies, forgive your daddies, forgive, right? That doesn't mean that, depending on the situation, you can keep your distance. Like, if you had a relationship with your parent and you used to tell them everything, right? But as a result of you telling them everything, they took what you said and twisted it to something that was untrue and then told other people, then at that point you stop talking to them. Stop telling them your personal business. And some people are so demented, they'll flip it on you like, oh, well, you're not supposed to give full disclosure. You're not supposed to tell all your business. And you're like, well, I never told you that. I said 1 + 1 = 2. You went and told cousin Susie and cousin and this person and that person 2 + 2 is 5. I never said 2 + 2 is 5, right? And they'll be like, well, you should have never told me 1 + 1 was 2. This is why I switched it. And some people are so demonic and so demented that they will take what you say and they will switch it. Also, you have what we call selective hearing. So you have people, I don't know, I need to study it. I don't know if it's a disorder or people that's just bored. But you ever talk to a person and then their response is something completely different from what you said? Like, you could be like, I went to the store and got apples and oranges. And they be like, you got watermelons and tangerines? I never said it. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves, y'all. Like, a person who don't listen. But it's deeper than that. It's a person who believes lies. You got people that's like that. But you have to forgive them because those people are miserable and going through hell. I promise you. You thinking that, oh, this person's fucked up, which they are. But you have to understand. Forgive them. I'm telling you. Because they are miserable. You're living your life and you're happy and they're jealous of that. And it may be hard. Some of y'all may be listening to this like, well, how can my own family be jealous of me? It's the truth. Because if they're miserable and they're not achieving things in life and they see that you're way younger than them and you doing a damn thing, yeah, they could be jealous. And so what better way to destroy you than your reputation? What better way to destroy you than to spread lies about you? But what you have to do as a Christian is to forgive. And that's what the message that I'm conveying today. Forgive, 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 because so you can live your life and still thrive and strive. Because when you hold on to unforgiveness, you can't proceed in life. God can't bless you because you're in unforgiveness. So I just wanted, when I saw that video, that's my thing. I have to spread the knowledge. That's one thing that I notice about these YouTubers. No one's teaching forgiveness. So I'm going to do it. Nobody else doing it. I'm going to do it. You have to forgive. Because that person that's doing you wrong, 9 times out of 10, if you really know them personally, they're miserable. They're very miserable. And them spreading lies on you, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So, and it's hurtful. Trust me, I know. You're like, well, why did this person say this about me? And it makes you feel sad, especially if the person raised you or whatever. But you have to forgive. And your best revenge is when they need you and just calmly say no. That's all. You could be a resource to them, but don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a perfect example is like, if something happens to where they live at, right? They get kicked out. You don't have to open your home to them, but you can give them a resource to get their home back, And it's not being vengeful. It's not being vengeful. It's just to let them know that that spirit is not welcome in my home, and I cannot let you enter. That's all. Because one thing that I was taught by somebody, and it was so, the wisdom was like, whew, be careful who you let in your home, because that's your peace, right? Your home is your peace, and people have spirits. I would never let somebody live with me. My son lives with me, and for me to live with somebody, we got to be getting married, and I examine your spirit for real. You know, people have spirits. So, and the devil comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. He wants to drain you. He wants to steal your peace. So if you know that person is negative, that person will, you know, come to you in a vulnerable state. When it's the devil, you have to have a discerning spirit, right? That's just like, there was a what do you call them, parables and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, the devil, the snake, matter of fact, the snake attacked the person. The person's like, well, why did you attack me? The snake replied, you knew I was a snake before you took care of me and took me in, right? So it's our responsibility as Christians to discern, but also forgive. Know that the person is not operating in their own likeness. A lot of people are possessed. And I spoke about it in a previous video, and I was like, you know, that dude wasn't really operating in witchcraft, but it's the spirit behind it. We are all spirit beings. That's the difference between us and other animals. We are Homo sapiens. We're not just more intelligent, we have spirits. Dogs do not have spirits, don't believe in that. But humans, we have evil spirits and we have good spirits, right? So if you want to maintain a good spirit, because let me tell you what happens when a person doesn't forgive, right? This is what it looks like. When a person doesn't forgive, verbally, they're talking about a dead person as if they're still alive. They often look terrible. And I'm not trying to be funny, but people that's walking in unforgiveness, they often look very terrible. They look very horrible. They have a spirit of depression, because there's layers to depression. Most people that's depressed, right? If you sit down and you ask them, well, what's bothering you? What's going on? They'll bring up old stuff from like 30 years ago. And it's like, why are you holding on to that? That to me is a mental illness, for real. Like, this is 2026 and you're holding on to something that happened 10, 15 years ago. Yes, you still might be upset about it, but to hold on to it and to hold in a grudge to the point you see the person in the street, you don't even say hello to them, that's a sickness. There's nothing, you know, and those people often look terrible. Those people are often not thriving and striving in life, right? So you don't want to be like that. You don't want to, and for some people they might look good, but their life is just upside down because of unforgiveness. I'm telling y'all, it's like a cancer. It gets all over. People who don't forgive, they yeah, you know, and there's so many people I know that's walking in unforgiveness. The person done passed away 20, 30 years ago, and they still hating on that person. That's a mental illness. Like, that's not normal. You need therapy, for real. You know, the person's been gone for 20 years and you still harboring something that they did to you more than 20 years ago. It's like, let it go. Let it go. And that's my message for today. Let it go. Live your life. There's no reason for you to be unhappy. You know, you live once. Life is quick, right? Jesse Jackson, he was like in his 80s. But even that's quick. You know, from the 60s until now, he's seen a lot in life. You know, my family's pastor, he was only 58 years old. Hopefully he lived his life to the fullest. You know, that's my thing. I haven't traveled enough, but I'm traveling more and more and more. Just knowing God for yourself, really having a relationship with him, being in prayer, all of that is important, because one day you won't be here. And then what? Forgive. And those are my thoughts.